It is time for yet another dispatch of Daring Abroad. This time round from the UK, we are featuring a Kenyan who dared and became a councillor. Councillor Elizabeth Wanjiru Kang'ethe. She was the mayor of Barking and Dagenham. We'll tell you how she climbed the ladder, defied all the odds to become a mayor of this place. At the time of compiling this feature, she was in Kenya for holiday, but I was able to combine the two worlds.
I visited my primary school the other day. I donated some books for them, and I supported the last year's KCP candidates.
Her story is inspirational.
A village girl, exactly, who went to school with no shoes.
From a humble beginning to holding one of the highest positions in East London.
The first 2010, we had 9 candidates, and I was the top. The tough ones was the Labour Party, which I represent. Then we had the Conservatives, which is the sitting government at the moment. We have the UKIP. I served until 2013. Then I went for the second term. Again, I won again. And that is the time when I was elected as the mayor. You know, the mayor is elected from amongst the councillors.
London is divided into administrative divisions known as boroughs, with each borough headed by a mayor. There are 32 boroughs. But first, a little more background on Councillor Kang'ethe, a British citizen of Kenyan origin who has been living in the UK since 1999.
Born in Githunguri, Kiambu, in the 60s. And I went to school, a local primary school in Kenya, in Kiambu, Kambui Primary School. Then I went to St. Anne's Secondary School, still in Kiambu. Then proceeded and trained as a teacher. I went to Machakos Teachers College and I trained as a P1 teacher.
Councillor Kang'ethe says it is the scouting movement that propelled her into daring abroad.
Especially in UK, I traveled twice with a group of Girl Guides. So within that time is when I used to go and meet so many people, and I thought, wow, I would like to venture, into a different sector. So I traveled with the idea of going to teach and looking for greener pastures, because by then most people were migrating. And that was in the year 1999. Traveling to UK and settling wasn't the easiest thing. One, I was trained as a primary school teacher without a degree, and so that wasn't acceptable. So when I went to UK, I had to do a few odd jobs as I trained again. So I had to go back to university.
Then she became active in community work in East London. But who actually inspired her into political leadership?
I met my current MP of Barking and Dagenham, who was the MP then, and she's still the MP, a very, very nice lady called Margaret Hodge. And she used to talk to me and tell me, I think, Elizabeth, have you ever thought of being a councillor? The kind of things you're doing fit exactly, what you're doing.
In the UK, she says there are no shortcuts to leadership.
You need to understand the manifesto of your party. So you cannot be promised heaven. You got to promise what you know you're going to deliver. The party nominates you and you are not allowed to spend a single coin. In fact, you will account for any money, including maybe you take a simple photograph. If I was to contest here and I give money, I promise you the minute I get in, the first 2 years will be to get back my money. So that is the problem. And that is where the corruption will begin.
And party hopping is a taboo.
If you are not nominated by your party, you cannot hop from Labour, go to Conservative. No, that's the end of your business. That shows now there's something fishy about you. You're not sincere to your party.
The mode of campaigning, she says, is door-to-door as opposed to political rallies.
You got to have a team supporting you. So this is where most Kenyans from all over UK, I thank God that we had a lot of support from the party and also from my colleagues, the Kenyan community.
The ward she represents has 9,000 residents, while the entire borough of Barking and Dagenham has about 270,000 residents.
You represent, first of all, the borough. For example, if I can give you an example, when the Queen was visiting, I had to be the first citizen to receive the Queen. You are referred as the first citizen. Then you have to attend to all civic events. It's so demanding.
Councillor Kang'ethe says one of her key platforms was cohesion, and that made her clinch the seat in the white-dominated ward.
So I made that point very, very clear, because that party threatened the residents, the whites, the original whites that, you stand to lose your chances of, housing and all this. I made them understand some of us here are contributing to the economy of this country, and sure enough we are. You go to the hospitals and you find that 3/4 of the people working there are immigrants. You go and find all the bus drivers, you find most of the teachers, like when we went there.
Tribalism in Kenya, she laments, is a shame.
Think about me. I went to UK, I was elected as a councillor, I was elected as a mayor. They didn't think about, they voted for me. Despite being a black person, a woman, coming from Kenya, I was voted by a majority of the whites. What about us Kenyans? We who can speak one language.
The moral of that story is that anything is possible with vision, hard work, and determination. Councillor Elizabeth Wanjiru Kang'ethe, all the way from Kenya, did it. She defied all the odds and became the mayor of Barking and Dagenham. And that's daring abroad.